Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Carla and Crappy Show, where I've been waiting a long time to say this. It's a hockey night in Pittsburgh, although it's
What?
not in Pittsburgh. They're playing in New York. But we are recording this on NHL opening night. It's officially hockey season. I am so ready. The game's on my TV. I've got this stuff going. I'm ready for hockey season.
Why? Why? It's Carla. It's still football season. We waited all spring and summer. We got very excited that the season was starting. And then we had arguments about who should be ranked where. And there were big feelings about this. And now all of us, oh, it's just hockey season now?
It's just
Did
hockey
some
season now.
did did something happen?
We'll talk about that. Yeah, something may have happened on the West Coast involving a famous coach's son and some poor clock management and an absolute meltdown by a team that um I am still, I guess, a fan of, but very upset with. But we'll get into that. Hi AJ.
But
Thanks for
they fired Lane Kiffin years ago.
Yeah, that's true. They did fire Link Kiffin years
What?
ago.
What?
Oh, AJ is here with us, obviously.
I am
Thank you for being here. Crappy's actually feeling crappy. And
quite.
so he is not with us this week. He
And
is
that
on
is his punishment for liking baseball over football. We've been through this before.
and my punishment for liking hockey this week is the fact that I am actually flying solo next week in the week 8 edition of the Carla and Crappy Show.
Yes.
Because both AJ and Crappy, this is pre-planned, friends. We knew that this was
Yes.
happening. I've got something special up my sleeve for next week. You're going to want to come back. Crappy and AJ have no idea what's going to happen, so it's going to
We
be a
truly do not.
it's going to be a total surprise for them. I'm very excited about it. So make sure you come back here next week for my first ever solo show that is not going to be solo. I promise you're not going to hear me rant for 30 minutes by myself about college football. But yeah, I guess all of you are here to listen and watch us talk about college football. So even though we're down a person and I'm kind of done with college football for the year, at least mentally, we're gonna talk about some college football. So before we get into the week 7 action, which has some intriguing stuff on it, I want to go back, unfortunately, and look back at what happened in week 6. AJ, I'll go over to you first because I'm sure everybody knows what I'm going to talk about. So, what would you like to talk about before I go off the deep end?
Yeah, a lot. There were a lot of games that have. I think if you look back at the scores from last week, there's a lot of deceptional. We'll go with deceptional scores.
Sure, that's a word.
Uh,
It's good.
yeah, it's a new word now. Miami beats Florida State 28-22. No, they didn't. They were up 28-3 at one point. Florida had a bunch of garbage time touchdowns. We almost had a Mario Cristobaling, but Miami was in deep, deep control of that game
Yeah.
for large swaths of it. Malachi Tony for Miami is a literal problem. I'm sorry to every ACC defensive back, safety, and likely future playoff teams who are going to have to figure out how to defend him because he is a problem. Also, he reclassified. He should be a senior in high school right now, and he is absolutely cooking dudes.
Yeah.
So that it was very fun to watch them. Miami, the U appears to be back a bit. Um, One thing I will say about Miami is they do not appear to be able to run the football all that well. That may come back to bite them later in time.
Yeah.
But today, they are the owners of the state championship because they beat South Florida and they beat Florida and they beat Florida State. Congratulations, Miami! You are the state champions of Florida. Um, there was another one on this list: Alabama at Vandy, or sorry, Vandy at Alabama. That game says 30-14. That is a 23-14 win for Alabama. They scored a late busted touchdown with 17 seconds left in the game to make it a 30-14 win. That is a 23-14 game. That was tied at halftime.
Yeah, it was.
Vandy is like properly good. I
Hmm.
do think Alabama has shrugged off the Florida State win or the Florida State loss, Florida State's win over Alabama.
Right.
And they seem to have it together again. Ty Simpson threw for 340 yards. Jam Miller, their running back, ran for 136. Like, and they did that on a very, very good Vandy team. Reminder, this is not the Vandy's of old.
Yeah.
Um, so I think Alabama is kind of back in a position to run the SEC again. Whoops.
Hmm.
Um, and also the must-win game for Kalen DeBoer, which was beat Vandy. Do not lose to Vandy 2 years in a row. Good job, Bama. Florida 29, Texas 21. Arch. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes, my dude. Had played your first proper SEC road game, and the SEC road game played you, and you looked like crap. That again, an 8-point win for Florida. Florida was up by a lot more than that.
Yeah, they were.
And what was the other one? There was another one that I saw that was a lot closer, that was a lot closer than it actually was. Oh, there it is. Clemson 38, UNC 10.
Yeah.
Holy crap. UNC absolutely decimated. There it was, by the way, it was very clear that everybody thought Bill Belichick's going to come to the Tar Heels. We're going to have Clemson coming to Chapel Hill. This is going to be a prime time game. We're going to get a pre-game concert. And UNC got Ludacris to come play their pre-game concert for the students. But then ESPN moved this game to noon. So Luda did a concert at 9:45 in the morning. And every report I've seen said Luda killed it. He did a great job. It was 9:45 in the morning. Everybody was very excited to see Ludacris, but it was 9:45 Luda, not 6 p.m. Luda. So it's different. Also, shout out to the girl that they did, like, that was a UNC student who was interviewed pregame, and they cut to it like right after a Clemson punt. It was really weird. It was like mid-game for no reason. And they interviewed this girl, and she said, that TCU game, I was there. I've been at this university for a while, and that was the worst thing that's happened to me here. And I failed midterms before. And then hard cut back to like UNC's got the ball, 1st and 10. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
So
But there was an
I think
interesting
this
to
is a
follow
good
up on
week.
that. Like there's an interesting column for those of you that subscribe to the Athletic. If you got the Until Saturday newsletter
Wonderful
today,
newsletter.
it was there's a quote in here that apparently went through Bruce Feldman about Belichick and the North Carolina situation and the recruiting in particular. Um, and I'm going to read it to you directly, circling back to a quote from last week by Group of Five head coach, who talked to Bruce Feldman about this past offseason's portal season. Quote, when I keep running up against the same P4s over and over again in recruiting, I'm like, all right, they're going to suck.
Mm.
There's
Ah,
this thing about the North Carolina recruiting where they just like brought on volume, which is what you kind of do in free agency, but like that doesn't work in the college game, right? You have to
mm-mm.
bring in talent, and the whole column here is about how they're taking on a lot of kids that haven't played. So they're bringing in a lot of players that are like, oh yeah, they're giving them the opportunity. This is the Oregon State problem, right? The Oregon State and the Washington State problem that we talked about last week, where they're bringing kids on to give them like they're giving them a chance to play, but the talent isn't there. And when you're in the, you know, Wazoo and Oregon State might be able to survive it because they're going to be in a conference that's going to be a little bit different. North Carolina's in the ACC. Like, there's Miami, there's Clemson when they're back because this is a down year, but they'll probably be back in a couple of years.
Yeah.
There's Virginia is on the rise, right? Like, Louisville always throws a wrench into things. Like the ACC has good football teams, and that's not the way you run a program, friends.
I uh this is something that came up a while ago about recruiting, specifically the state of Virginia, because there was a lot of talk a few years ago about like why are Virginia Tech and Virginia bad? And one of the things that came up is UNC had Dre Bly
Yeah.
as their like safeties and defensive backs coach, and he was owning the entire state of Virginia recruiting wise. Like the top 10 kids coming out of Virginia, like seven of them were going to UNC, and they
Hmm.
were all recruited by Dre Bly. This is the sort of thing that is very different between the college game and the pro game.
Right.
And also, hey, Bill, I don't know if you know this, but none of these kids are signed to contracts, which means they can all leave at the end of the season. You have 1 year free agency effectively. Anybody can come to your team, but they can also leave your team. And I think he's about to discover that. And also, apparently, on the local news in the Triangle, I'm going to read this one real quick. This is from some friends who live in the Raleigh area. And they said, I saw some scathing interviews from parents in the local news saying something to the effect that only one coach, one of Belichick's kids, is even personable. All the other coaches won't respond to player questions or requests for feedback. There's lots of division in the locker room. Only the highest paid handful of players are getting any type of one-on-one, etc. Apparently, under Mac Brown, all the starters had his cell phone number and he regularly communicated with players and parents. He would even call parents asking if they could help their kid with X, Y, or Z to get better or get more focused. They said all of that communication is gone now and no one knows what's going on or what expectations are. It is pure chaos.
Wow.
And I am wildly unsurprised because, Bill, these are college kids, not professional
Right.
players. So, UNC is down bad. I hate to see this, but also we love to see Bill Belichick get brought out as the Tom Brady merchant that he was. And uh, I think this is we had like a pretty solid week last week. The late slate ended up being pretty good. But Carla, we've ducked this question enough. Carla, what happened to Penn State last week?
Well, okay. So people that
It
I've
wasn't,
talked
was it driving all the way down to Harrisburg to fly out of an airport that was big enough to have a plane? Was that
Yeah,
it?
yeah, that's exactly what it was. No, I have three theories about what happened in Los Angeles last week, and none of them are good. Right? It was a bad situation all the way around. And unfortunately, the one that I think is the most likely based on what I've read, what I've heard said in the aftermath of the game, it's the one that is it's the worst option, is the one that is the most likely. So the first option is the players didn't take it seriously. That they just, you know, as a fan, I admit I didn't take the game seriously. They were such a huge favorite. I actually said, if you go back and listen to last week's show, Penn State gets a get right game in Los Angeles against UCLA. That was the
I mean, somebody
mentality,
had a get right game.
right? Yeah. It was a get right game. It was just not for Penn State. And so there's part of me that says the players didn't take the game seriously, is one potential theory. The second potential theory is, and this one's baffling to me. The coaching staff was underprepared and did not prepare the team for this game. Now, there was no film. There was no film. This was an entirely new coaching staff entering this game. They all had gotten hired within the past week. That being said, if you have the level of talent that Penn State has and the top defensive mind in the country, and you can't stop a simple run game?
A defensive coordinator that you were paying more than what they were paying to Sean Foster,
Right.
probably. I don't know his actual contract, but I guarantee it was pretty close.
So I don't buy that theory that the lack of tape was the problem, that this was an entirely new playbook, because it was an entirely new playbook. UCLA has said that they installed a bunch of new plays heading into that game. I don't buy that option, because if you have the caliber of talent and the caliber of coaches that Penn State has, sure, you might not have covered, but you still should have won the football game. Okay. So that's the second option, which I'm kind of discounting already because I don't buy it. The third option, and the one that I think is the most likely based on comments that were made after the game, and it's the one that hurts my heart the most because I'm not sure Penn State recovers if this is the case. And it goes back to what we were just talking about with Bill Belichick and how the way that there was division in the locker room. Did the Penn State coaching staff lose the team after the Oregon loss? Did something happen? Because this is a new thing, right? With the portal, as you just mentioned, the players can leave. And that's not something that we're used to in the college game. We would talk about that in pros, right? In the NFL about losing the locker room, losing the plot, dare I say. And in the college game, that wasn't really a thing because we didn't have the portal. You were kind of stuck there unless you wanted to sit a year out. That's no longer the case. What was the aftermath of the Oregon game behind closed doors at practice? What was the messaging there? And here's the reason why I'm concerned this was the answer because did you listen to James Franklin's press conference after the loss? He excuse after excuse after excuse, and only at the very end did he say it's my responsibility.
Yeah, I don't know that I could hear the players where they were under the bus. They it truly seemed like because I watched all of that game
Yes, I did too.
and it was very clear that they the play calling to end the first half was
Yes.
insanity.
Yep.
When you have they got Uncle Gary questioning everything. Like this
Hmm.
is the weirdest. You got Gary Danielson saying like this is the weirdest set of play calls I've seen in a long time. I don't understand what they're doing here. Like, and then to like say, oh well, we were trying to bleed the clock and try to get a score before halftime. That was what you were doing?
Right.
Because it seemed to me like you were not doing that. And then you get a fourth down call absolutely blown up.
Right.
And UCLA is the one who gets the score. Like it was 27-7 going into the half.
Yep.
And at no point did Penn State look even moderately aware that the game was going on.
Yeah.
They come out and score two quick touchdowns coming out of the third quarter. They're like it's 27-21 very quickly. It's
Hmm.
7:19 in the with left in the third quarter. It's 27-21. So Penn State, like at that point, was like, okay, we get what they're doing on offense. Got it. We're going to get some stops. We're going to go get some scores. We're going to bring this game back. And they almost did, except UCLA didn't give up.
Right.
They score with 2:55 left in the third to make it 34-21. Like that touchdown is what won them the game
Hmm.
in terms of like, because you could be like, well, dang, we had a good run, boys, but hey, the more talented team is here, and now it's time to lose.
Right.
And they went, no, we're not going to lose. Because a reminder, Nico was a 5-star quarterback for a reason.
Yeah.
He's good. Um, I think they played so well. Jerry Neuheisel like had an incredible call to the game, even though he looks like he looks like the villain where he says, "Do you know who my father is?" in an
Right.
80s ski movie. Um,
And apparently his
and I do
headset
know
didn't work for half of the game.
amazing.
He was having headset problems because Nico said that after the game that the reason why he kept looking over at the sideline kind of incredulously was the fact that he wasn't hearing the calls from Jerry.
And by the way, I know Penn State fans, you were watching that game, and it probably hurt to see to see Rick Neuheisel like cheering that hard against you. But he after the game, they asked him about it, and he was like, "Man, y'all are gonna make me cry." Like
Yeah.
Penn State fans, I'm really sorry that the game did not go your way. I do not mean I'm not cheering for you against your team in particular. There are moments like this where you, as a father, get to see your child succeed in a thing that they wanted to do their whole life.
Yep.
And I got to watch that happen. His mom is there. I hope they're having a wonderful time. But it was so gratifying to watch him perform his job at that level.
Yep.
That like that. I'm like, all right. Don't put that in my parent feels. Don't put me in like that. Don't do that to me, Rick Neuheisel. Rick Neuheisel put me in my parent feelings. 2025 is incredible, you guys.
And
Absolutely incredible. Um,
what's also
so
incredible is like everyone's like, well, no, Penn State can still find their way to the playoff. No, no, friends. They're done. It's
yeah,
done. And
you got two Big Ten losses, so you have to run the table.
you have to run the table. And is that Penn State team going to beat Ohio State in the shoe?
If that one shows up, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not if that
Right.
one shows up.
I mean, that's the game that Penn State has not been able to win for years. I have zero faith that it's going to happen this year. You know, in
But no, no. Here's what's gonna happen. Now it will.
Now, will
Now it'll
I?
happen. Now it'll happen. And they're gonna catch like because Ohio State could be like they lost to UCLA, bro.
And they'll do the same thing that Penn State did when they went out to La La Land. Um,
Boom.
no, it's not only do they have to win out, they may need help too. Like you may need to see another blemish on somebody else's, not necessarily in the Big Ten, but in another conference. If you're going to get a two-loss Big Ten team into the playoff, um, and not like another one-loss ACC or whatever the Big 12 does to itself, right? I mean,
I'll tell you.
it
You see, you're talking about can they beat Ohio State in the shoe?
they got Indiana
They get
too,
they get Indiana immediately after that.
right? And they
Those are
get a night game
back-to-back
at and
games.
they announced this week we get a night game at Kinnick. Like,
All we're saying, Penn State fans, is
enjoy your
listen,
trip to the Cheez-It Bowl.
the Cheez It Bowl is a delightful time. If any of you are Penn State fans and you are looking to get married, I believe the Cheez It Bowl is going to do that thing they did last year where you got a free trip to the Cheez It Bowl as long as you got married during a TV timeout.
Yeah,
So you could do that. Just saying.
yeah, but and it sucks because this was the year that it was supposed to happen, and to see that kind of utter and complete meltdown that we didn't see from this team last year. The games
Yeah.
that Penn State lost, they were in last year.
Yeah.
And
100%.
against Oregon, they were in that game until double overtime. And to go out and just completely lay an egg tells me that something happened after the Oregon game that caused the community feel whatever I'm the vibe in practice caused it to shift. That's the only viable theory that lives in my brain right now. And it's disappointing. And it's why I'm very excited about hockey season. And so this is that point in the year, we talk about this every year, that we reach a point in the season where one of us hates college football. I'm obviously at that point, which means that when you start hating the game of college football, what do you root for? Chaos. And so I am fully in chaos mode at this point. Give me more Big 12 buffet. Give me more ACC buffet because we're starting to see some of that. Give me all of the buffet options possible because that's what I'm going to need to stay engaged with college football this year. Um, so
Welcome.
I was to say
Welcome
so.
to the gang,
Well,
Carla.
yeah. So AJ, you might have a few games this week that might help me bring me out of my rut here and
Okay.
refocus myself and maybe
Okay.
root for chaos. So help me,
All,
please.
okay. Okay. All right. We're going to start with a game that everybody should be putting their eyes on. At 2:30 p.m., Carla, I want you to hear me out on this. 2:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. We have UMass at Kent State. Okay? Follow me here.
I
You want
love
to
this already.
listen, you want to see the literal dregs? It's time. You want to see what like this is a real ghost of Christmas future situation? Like, do you want to see how bad it could have been? Here's UMass and Kent State. Okay. Kent State favored by 2.5. The fun index is 50.5. These are two of the worst teams in FBS.
50 and a
Full
half
stop.
seems high.
Correct. Um, Here's the fun part that I find about these types of games. I talked about Temple and UMass a few weeks ago. I'm talking about UMass and Kent State now. Will this become a UMass podcast? Only if you let me. So the what you find when you have Carla, what happens when we have two really great teams play each other? You get a good stalemate, right?
Yeah.
They're both very good and they're both
Get a rock
controlling the
fight.
ball. When you have two bad teams play each other, you get the same thing, but for different reasons. Um, you're playing equal level capabilities. You're playing equal talent. It's not UMass playing Ohio State. They're playing Kent State. And so the level of competition, this is not a knock on Kent State. It's just how Kent State's been run the last probably decade. that these two teams are at equal talent levels, they're at equal capability levels, so you actually get a good game out of these.
Hmm.
So UMass at Kent State, I'm going to pick Kent State. I think they're playing at home. They are, I believe, they're not fully 0 and 5. I don't believe. I'm just checking the standings really quickly here. Kent State is 1 and 4. UMass is 0 and 5. The reason why the fun index is so high is because Kent State has given up 220 points this year, and UMass has given up 179.
Okay.
So
Defense
uh,
optional.
defense is very optional here. So I'm interested to see where this one goes. I'll take Kent State. Carla, who you got here?
Oh gosh. Let's do Kent at home.
That's
That feels
fair.
like a good call with them. UMass hasn't done anything this year. Kent at
No.
least has been slightly competitive.
They
So
almost beat Buffalo,
that's
which was
right.
very funny.
Yeah.
They almost got them, and I was very excited to watch this game happen, um, but they didn't. So next up at 3:30 p.m. on CBSSN, the network of,
Champions.
that's right, Air Force at UNLV. UNLV favored by 6.5. The fun index is a healthy, good, and wonderful 65.5.
Yeah, that's fun.
Here's why. Remember how we joked about how UNLV can't play defense? Neither can Air Force. You know what both of these teams can do?
Score points.
Score some points. So I highly recommend this game. This is one of my picks of the day for a reason. Um, Air Force did a thing that you shouldn't do, which was they got into a boat race with Navy, and Navy is all about the boats,
Yes, they
so
are.
don't do that, right?
Yes.
That was a 34-31 win by Navy at Air Force. So Navy takes a one win lead in the Commander in Chief's trophy. Um, but this is like, honestly, this is a game. I believe my notes just say pew, 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 because that's what this game is going to be. I'm going to take UNLV here. I think UNLV has played a bit of defense this year. Air Force, after watching that Hawaii game, has not. But Air Force has the ability. It's weird to say this, but the option team has big play capability. It's
Yeah.
wild to watch. I watched them rip off like multiple 60, 50 or 60-yard plays against Hawaii, and it was like maddening to watch. So you should watch this game, and just when you blink, it's a touchdown will likely be scored.
Yeah.
Carla, who you got here?
Um, UNLV at home. I listened to most of the fourth quarter of the Air Force Navy game last week because the noon slate of games was so just kind of like already decided that like the Blitz hung with that game because it was the only game that was close in the noon
Mhm.
window. And so I got to listen to the back and forth of that game, which got really entertaining at the end, but Air Force can't stop anybody. And so I think UNLV is the pick here.
Just as a note, overall, Air Force has scored 182 points. They have given up 189 points. They are 1 and 4.
That's
So
generally not a good equation.
it's not a good thing to do there. Um,
Math is hard.
UNLV has scored 178 points and has only given up 130.
There you go.
So that's why I'm taking
Slightly
UNLV
more
here.
defense.
Just a bit,
Bit.
just a smidge.
Yeah. But that might be all you need.
Uh, Speaking of all you need, that's right. On God's CW network at 3:30 p.m., we have Wake Forest traveling all the way across the country to play Oregon State. The fun index is 50.5. Wake is favored by 2.5. On behalf of Pac-12 fans everywhere, and I mean Pac-12, Oregon State, I need you to win this. I need you to win this, not necessarily for the funnies, but because also happening, it's this one's at noon on the SEC network, and it's not on our game list because we're not going to talk about it too long. Is Wazoo at Ole Miss? Number one, there's not enough alcohol in the Grove. There just isn't. And number two, Washington State is going to get turned into a fine mist
Yeah.
by Ole Miss. So Oregon State, on behalf of the Pac-12 and honor, I need you to win this game. Wake Forest is coming through Portland, Oregon to get to Corvallis, which means they will be woke by the time they get there. I need you to win this game. Thank you. Carla, who do you have here?
Oh gosh. I mean, the right pick is Wake, but I'm with you. I would like to see Oregon State win this game. Also, it's worth noting that this feels like a very proper Jefferson Pilot game. I love it.
Oh
Um,
yeah, this is some like good this is some good local commercial time.
yes,
Some car dealer, by the way, if you ever watch games on the Mountain West app, they have the local ads, and every time I watch a game that involves UNLV, you get a Dan Mullen Dodge truck commercial
love it.
where they try to sell him a truck in blue, which is the color of Nevada or
Right.
University of Nevada, Reno, UNR. And he goes, "Blue, don't give me that." And he turns hard to the camera and he goes, "I need my truck in red." And then they like cut to him getting one from like another salesperson. And it's the cheesiest possible commercial. And this is what we cheer for college football for. That's why we watch the games.
Love it.
Um, at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and I don't know that the frame rate of ESPN Plus is going to be capable of handling this. We have UAB at FAU. FAU is favored by 4.5, and the fun index is the highest of the week at 69.5 points.
Love it.
Okay, Carla, we're gonna turn this frown upside
Upside down.
down. Okay. Because we are hammering the over here because neither of these teams can stop a stiff breeze. And both of them are actually capable of scoring points. I'm going to take FAU here just because I love watching Trent Dilfer fail. And I will cheer against him. It's like a 50% Flames situation. Like it's not all the way there. It's
Yeah.
not that mean, but like Trent Dilfer is not a great person, and I would like UAB to go back to being UAB and scaring the Board of Regents so hard they had to shut the program down. That's what I want, and he's not it. So I'm going to take FAU here. They're favored by 4.5, but this game is going to get stupid. I'm sure of it. Carla, who you got?
I FAU. Because FAU as a school is kind of just a fun cacophony. You have this college situated right in the middle of Boca. It
Mhm.
just doesn't make sense. Like the atmosphere around the whole, it's just one of the weirdest things ever. So yeah, give me FAU.
And finally, in this part of the slate of Group of Five games, we have a game to play later about other potential Group of Five games that I would have normally talked about here. We have Utah State at Hawaii at 11:59 p.m. on the Mountain West mobile app. I did find out last week that I found the link where I can use a regular Spectrum account to watch it on my desktop. I was very pleased by this. Utah State favored by 1.5 because Vegas doesn't know what they're talking about. The fun index is 57.5. Can the Bows get to 5-2? The answer is yes. Mike Alejado, I love you, you maniac. You're gonna give me a heart. You're gonna give me an aneurysm and or a heart attack or both at the same time. But I'm gonna be smiling when you score that touchdown. Yes, they can. Give me the Bows going 5-2. Timmy Chan take us to the promised land, which is just a bowl game, just a bowl game. I'm not saying like Hawaii to the playoff. Let's calm down here, okay? Hawaii winning the Mountain West, absolute peak. That's as high as we're going, kids.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to any higher than that. Set the expectations appropriately, and you'll be fine. I also realized that I am developing full-blown honest to goodness feelings for Hawaii football because I was watching the Air Force game and losing my mind about it. And I realized, oh no, I'm all the way in. Oh no, it's not, haha, this is fun to watch at 1 in the morning. Nope. Nope. I'm watching the 4:30 midday game and getting mad about it. Oh no. Doesn't matter. Utah State's going to the island. They're going down. Go Bows.
Yeah,
Carla, who you got here?
Go Bows. Go Bows. We gotta
That
get
is
them to a
right.
bowl game. And it would be nice to do it not in the last week of the season.
100%. 100%. And finally, before we get into the big boy games,
Yes.
we made a trade in our notes, and I did not put it into the game notes, and I realize now that I should have done that. But we made a trade because there is a group of five game, a true proper group of five game that we will talk about it as the first big boy game of the week.
Yes.
However, I traded that game to become a big boy game. I graduated my sweet, sweet children in exchange for 7 p.m. on FS1. That's right, kids. It's Iowa at Wisconsin. Why are we talking about this game? Because we can. And it was a trade, and it was a joke, and we're going to pay this off. Crappy, when you're editing this, I pay off my jokes and I pay off my trades here. This is in Camp Randall. This is at 7 p.m. They're going to do some nighttime jumping around.
I do love that.
That is that is the only amount of happiness that Wisconsin will have in this game because Iowa is going to Iowa the heck out of this game. The Oh God, I didn't
Yeah.
look at the fun
The
index.
fun
Oh
index, yeah.
no. Oh, sorry. You need to watch the video so you can watch my face make like get contorted. Um, almost threw up. Iowa's favored by 3.5. The fun index is 35.5. Oh,
That
oh,
might be the
this is
lowest fun index we've ever seen.
this is happening at the same time as UAB FAU.
Yes, it
I
is.
just want you to know that. And also happening at the same time, Arkansas, Tennessee, which has a fun index of 68.5.
Hmm.
Like we have other things that cleanse the palate. You don't have to watch somebody be slowly put through the wood chipper. You can just you can just like turn back and go, oh, the hand, got it, and then move on. It's oh, this Wisconsin is not good.
No, they're
They're
not.
just truly not good in any way, shape, or form. I just want to see what the just want to see something here.
They
Just
lost to
real quick.
September, Maryland.
Everybody loses to September, Maryland. That's why they're called September, Maryland. Ask Washington what happened when Maryland became October, Maryland.
Yeah.
They went across the country and won in Annapolis, or not Annapolis, in College Park.
Yes.
The advanced stats. This is not a game that I had in there, or did I? Uh-oh. Well, it might be. No, I didn't. I didn't put this game in. I almost did, and then I put a different game in. We're doing a game later on. So
Yes.
Iowa, according to advanced stats, Iowa has a 49.8% win probability. Wisconsin has a 50.2% win probability. The projected margin is Wisconsin by zero point 0.1, which means this is a true toss-up game.
Yep.
Math, I don't know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
I trust math here. And everything about the graphic here that I'm looking at has Iowa very good. Wisconsin's offense very bad. There's a reason why this fun index is that low.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that's really what's happening here. Yeah, that one threw me for a loop. Iowa, Wisconsin. Watch at your own peril. Carla, who you got in that game?
Um, I mean, for my waning fandom purposes, I should probably root for Wisconsin in this game, but I don't think there's any way. I think
Do
Iowa
you
just
really
does
want to kick
this.
the Hornets nest before that night game at
I
Kinnick?
know, right? Yeah, like no, Iowa's gonna win, and it's gonna
Yeah,
like
Iowa's
first
gonna
team to 10 points wins, maybe.
Ooh, you know what? I'll say 13.
Okay.
Ooh. How how absolutely debonair. 13 total points. Speaking of Iowa, it's time, kids, to open the buffet.
Yes.
It's time to open the Big 12 buffet. And as we saw last week, the buffet will get you. Texas Tech is scary. We'll talk about them in a second here. Iowa State. Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, friends, you went to Cincinnati, you tried the chili, you got the upset tummy, and then you lost. Um,
Hey, the odds makers knew something we didn't. We questioned that. We were like, what's
we
going on
truly
here?
did. We were like, Cincinnati, really? Oh, that's why. Got it. Okay, maybe Vegas does know something. They don't know anything about Hawaii football. That's for certain. Um, Iowa State heading out to Boulder to play Colorado at 3:30 Eastern. That is a 1:30 p.m. local time kick. The views will be incredible. There is no way for me to pick against Iowa State here.
Yeah.
There really isn't. Like Colorado is still fun and interesting as a storyline, but they are not like listen, there's Shador's in the NFL now. Travis is in the NFL. Travis was making crazy catches on Monday Night Football, not Saturday Night Football.
Yeah.
Iowa State's favored by 2.5. The fun index is 52.5. This feels that line feels low. Um, I will say this: Colorado's defense is significantly better than it has been. Those like early Colorado teams, the first year of Dion, where it was like, oh, this is literally just a This is just a points race. Who can score the most points before the end of the game?
Yeah.
Because Colorado's defense is not going to stop anything. Um, they are quite literally perfectly balanced. They have scored 150 points. They have given up 149 points. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Mm.
Um, but they are 0-3 in conference. They are minus 33 points scored in conference games. This is Iowa State's game. They have to win this one. They have to stay in the race. Um, BYU, Texas Tech, Arizona State, and now Cincinnati. Like Cincinnati holds the tiebreaker. Those are the
Yeah.
teams that if you lose another one of these, you're kind of done. You can't lose two games unless the buffet stays very open. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and take Iowa State here. They know they have to win this game in order to stay in the race for the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Iowa State, it's a must win for Iowa State, but you can say that on almost every game in the Big 12.
Um, I'm going to need America to do me a favor, and I need you to tune in to Kansas at number 9 Texas Tech. This is at 7:30 p.m. on Big Fox. Texas Tech. We didn't put the thing in there. I need to find the thing. This is all the things that we can keep in the show. Texas Tech is favored by 14 and a half. The fun index is 58 and a half. Um, I need you guys to take a look at Texas Tech because they are capital G good.
Hmm.
Their defensive line is terrifying. Houston's going to see that D line in his sleep for the next 3 years because they were all over him. Houston brought out the baby blue Oiler jerseys,
Yeah, they
the
did,
like old
which,
Houston
which
Oilers
were
jerseys,
sharp.
which was they were sharp, they were tremendous, and it was the best part of that game for Houston
Yeah.
because everything else after that did not go well for them. I think like I need you guys to watch Texas Tech so that you can get on this board on the board early. It's week 7. We still got another half of the season to go. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
Carla, we have another half of the season to go. I need you to get on board with this right now because you're going to hear Texas Tech, comma, playoff team, and I want you to get on now before people are really paying attention because I don't think people are really paying attention to Texas
Yeah.
Tech right now. I think they're still like, okay, it's weird, and they're in the Big 12, and yeah, they're 5-0, whatever. They've scored 243 points. They've given up 56.
Yeah.
They are capital G good. And I'm going to need a lot of y'all to put your eyeballs on Texas Tech. And I will be taking Texas Tech in this game. I hope Jalen Daniels does some fun stuff and makes this game close, but that spread feels right. So I'm
Yeah.
going to take Texas Tech here.
Agreed.
At 8 p.m. on ESPN2, the buffet remains, and you can do a buffet quad box here. In fact, you could probably do a buffet quad box. Follow me here. Iowa State, Colorado finishes
Yeah.
with Texas Tech and Arizona starting. And then as these games end, you'll get a Big 12 game at 10:15. So you can kind of have the buffet rotate through your quad box. I'm just throwing that out there. Number 18, BYU goes down to Arizona, 8 p.m. ESPN2. It is October, which means games in Arizona don't have to be played at 10 p.m. anymore. Um, hey, BYU, you're doing great. You're 2-0 in conference. You're 5-0 overall. You're ranked 18th in the country. I think you need to ask some former Pac 12 teams about what happens when you go down to Arizona.
Yep.
Either school does not matter. Arizona State, Arizona doesn't matter. You might end up leaving with less extremities than you came with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens. By the way, I saw Dennis Dixon in a video the other day, and my heart broke again.
Hmm.
For those of you who are too young to remember Dennis Dixon, he was Chip Kelly's first quarterback at Oregon and like was the progenitor of all the like big RPO stuff that you're seeing now and should have won the Heisman. Oregon should have been in the national championship game that year. And Dennis Dixon goes to Arizona and gets his leg turned into spaghetti. And he missed the rest of his season. And I think he declared for the draft and like barely got drafted. Like Dennis Dixon, who then actually ended up going to, he was a quarterback for the Steelers for a little bit.
Hmm.
But he should have got more of a chance to shine and he just didn't. Um, Back to live action. I was talking to a BYU fan the other day and they are very nervous about this game for non-Arizona reasons. They are looking at the rest of their schedule and saying, we might make a bowl game. And I was like, what are you talking? You are 5-0. You are like wrecking house. What are you talking about? What do you mean you might make a bowl game? And they're like, well, we're 5-0, but we're now to the point where the Big 12 schedule shows up and things might happen. I was like, you got UCF at the end of the season. Calm down.
Yeah.
Orlando comes to you. You guys love that. So I think BYU wants to get this as a win. They want to like lock in at least a bowl game, 6-0 bowl game, thumbs up, move on. But there are some qualms inside the BYU fan base about whether or not they'll make a bowl game. And I'm sorry, BYU, my friend who is a BYU fan. I'm picking Arizona here.
Yeah.
You go to Arizona and bad times happen. So I'm taking the Bearcats here. Carla, who you got?
Yeah, this feels like when you look at the Big 12 games this week, this one feels like the buffet option. Like this one
Mhm.
feels like the unranked team that's going to come up and bite you, especially because, like as you mentioned, it's Arizona. Ask USC how that goes.
Mhm.
Ask Washington how that goes. Like there are so many examples from the old Pac-12 of just getting eaten alive in Arizona, particularly in Tucson. Um, Bearcats. Or bear down. Sorry, Wildcats, bear down.
And finally, at 10:15 Eastern, we have Arizona State going to Utah. Mm,
Hmm.
mm, mm, mm. I did a little shoulder shimmy.
Hmm.
Watch the video version, kids. Did a little shoulder shimmy for you. Utah favored by 5.5. The fun index is 48.5. Why is Utah favored by 5.5? Because they have Devin Dampier and they are at home.
Yep.
Arizona State leaving the friendly confines of Sun Devil Stadium. I will not learn what the new name is. And I am interested to see where this goes because I think this game has some shootout potential. I really
Hmm.
do. Arizona State playing okay defense, Utah playing pretty good defense. Um, Utah has a similar balance to BYU and to Texas Tech. They are putting up a ton of points. They are not giving many of them up. Utah scoring 195 points, and they are giving up 73. In conference, it's 58-48. So it's a lot closer in conference. BYU still a little bit higher than that. So I think this has a potential to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Arizona State on the road. I think they know they need this game.
Hmm.
This game is going to be fun, but I'm going to take Arizona State on the road. We're picking Arizona's here. 99 cent teas for everybody. Carla, who you got here?
I actually think I like Utah here. The
Okay.
Utah at home is a tough. They're tough at home,
That's
um,
true.
and I especially that late, right? With the super late night game in that midnight-ish kind of window. Yeah, give me the Utes.
Did you say Utes?
I did say the Utes.
Fine. It's now time, though. It's time for big boy games. And it's time for our littlest big boys to step up to the plate.
It is, and I'm very excited about this game. This was the game that we traded as we
Mhm.
were planning things out for the show this week. And we're going to start on Friday night, friends. This is also your note that by the time you've listened to this, you've already missed college football this week because we have midweek football that
Mhm.
is being played now starting on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So if you're like me, trying to like reinitiate yourself back into the broader world of college football, remember you can turn games on now on Wednesday and Thursday nights. I'll talk more about one of those games that, sorry, you missed because it got played on Wednesday and you're hearing this show probably on Thursday. But this game is on Friday, so you still have time to listen to it, and I'm so excited for this game. Number 24, USF, travels to unbeaten North Texas. The game is at 7:30 Eastern again on Friday. This is on ESPN2. South Florida favored by 1.5 on the road. The AJ Fun Index is a very proper and delightful 68 and a
Mhm.
half.
Say it again. Mm.
68 and a half. AJ, I don't know. The floor is yours. Tell us about this
I'm
game.
gonna I'm gonna ascend because we have two actual good teams. Usually when you
Yes.
see a fun index this high, it's usually like, oh, neither is deep brain defense. Burp, 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 burp. Nope. Nope, they're just that good at offense.
Yeah.
North Texas has scored 224 points. They have given up 100. USF has scored 181 points and they've given up 112. These are both teams that are capable of scoring way more points than the other team. Um, I am so excited for this game. I may have to cancel some Friday plans to put my eyeballs on this game. Uh, North Texas has gotten better somehow, giving up Chandler Morris to
Yeah.
UVA.
Right.
Chandler Morris was their quarterback last year, and he transferred out to UVA and is now doing great at UVA, and we love that for him. Um, but we're starting to see North Texas actually just go out and crush things. And by the way, their quarterback is a true freshman. So it's not
Hmm.
like a transfer. We got in some other guy. Nope. They just got a like properly good quarterback to come in from Austin. They are like playing well across the board. They're spreading the ball around. Their defense is playing really well, getting turnovers. And USF is still USF. Remember, they beat Florida, and their only loss of the season is to
To
Miami,
Miami.
who
Yep.
is up there, the top. They're not like top three team in the country. So, and by the way, that game was not like a, oh, dang, USF, you got absolutely blitzed. Nope.
Mm-mm.
Nope. They acquitted themselves well for most of that game. There was also a weird lightning delay for a long time in the
Yeah.
middle of that game, too. So, a weird game in Miami. Um, USF favored by 1.5 is interesting here. I think that's some belief that USF is a better overall team um, than North Texas. I think North Texas. I think North Texas gets up for this one. They go to if they win, North Texas becomes one of the they will be one of the first bowl eligible teams um,
Yep.
in the country, and they're doing it in a way that is they're scoring a ton of points. Sorry, Memphis is already bowl
Memphis is
eligible.
the first one. Yes.
This is the first one. Sorry. I apologize to the Tigers. I forgot the fact that you guys played in week 0. Um, but UNT playing well. I'm going to take them at home. Carla, who you got here?
Yeah, it's the Mean Green. They've been very quietly putting together like a really solid season, right? They're flying under the radar. Nobody's really paying attention to them. They have a massive win over Yazoo or over Wazoo, excuse me. Like they won that game like 58-3 or something like something
They
absurd like that.
every time I looked up, UNT was getting a turnover from Washington State. It was
Yeah.
like I kept looking over, going like, "Oh no, it's still happening to Wazoo. Oh no."
Yeah. I mean, they just absolutely like steamrolled a Power Four team, right? Or a team that will be back into a power conference next year. USF, like, what's interesting to me about USF is like they were the darlings for the first 2 weeks of the year after beating Boise and then beating Florida. And then they lost to Miami. They held their own in that game, as you mentioned, but then they just kind of like fell off national radar. Like nobody's paying attention to USF anymore. Now, true, they haven't played anybody since they lost to Miami, but they've done what they're supposed to do against South Carolina State and Charlotte, right? Those are games that you should win. They won those games handily. The fun index on this game is absurd, one of the highest ones we've seen so far this year, and we already know that North Texas is hyped for this game because a full week and a half ago, I sent a post to our little show thread that we have in our group chat. North Texas's university president canceled Friday afternoon classes a full week and a half before this game was scheduled to be played. Um, the difference for me is the Mean Green's defense. You mentioned that they've got a better overall defense so far this season. They're tops in the American Conference against the pass. I'm with you. And I mean, I've got a little bit of a rooting interest here. I have some friends that are connected with North Texas. Give me the Mean Green at home and what's going to be an absolutely fantastic atmosphere and something that you're going to want to watch on Friday night. Get your eyeballs on this game. I'm with you. Mean Green win this one at home. Um, Shifting to Saturday and something probably a little closer to a big boy game. And of course, we are starting with Big Nude. Number one Ohio State at number 17, Illinois. The Buckeyes go to Chambana. That's on Fox. Ohio State favored by 14 and a half. The AJ Fun Index is a meh 49 and a half. But what you would expect for a game like this. What, AJ, what do you see here?
This this is one of Ohio State's, I'll say this, remaining challenges.
Yeah.
Um, we're hitting the point of the Big 12, not Big 12, Big 10 schedule where we kind of have some, I don't want to say problems, but we're getting to a point now where teams like Ohio State looking forward on their schedule, they've got Illinois this week, and then they play, I'm sorry, Carla, five of, they play four of the worst teams in the conference and Penn State
Hmm.
before they get Michigan. Like Wisconsin, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers. Those four teams, I made the joke in our group chat. Those five teams have one total Big Ten win between them, and it's UCLA.
Right.
Like this is this is like one of their few chances to really put a stamp on the season because what's their best win right now? Texas? They're not ranked anymore.
Right.
They were number one. They are not number one anymore. Um, After that, it's probably Washington. Um, but they need to put their stamp on a team that people believe is a good team. And beating a ranked Illinois team is something they kind of have to do. I expect Ohio State to go to Chambana. I expect them to handle business. This is Julian Sain's first, I think, proper road game,
Yeah.
like big atmosphere road game. They played Washington in Washington, and it was loud there.
Hmm.
But I think this is like his first proper like Big Ten crowd. This is for the Illabuck Trophy. There's a trophy on the line in this game. I don't think
Of
many of you
course there
remember the
is.
fact that Ohio State and Illinois play for the Illabuck Trophy. So I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucks here because they seem to be, in my opinion, they are currently the best team in the country.
Yeah.
It's between right now. It's between them and Miami in my brain. Um, so I'll take Ohio State there.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think Ohio State's win last week over Minnesota was kind of a statement win, because they owned that game from start to finish. And my notes here say, unlike my Nittany Lions, the Buckeyes took care of business last week. They beat the team that they were supposed to beat, and they beat them handily. Um, and yes, it does seem this year that Annoying Bert is back. Annoying Bert is indeed once again annoying. I I have my doubts against their chances here simply because of how good the Ohio State defense is. Do we remember that Illinois offense against Indiana? No, we don't because there wasn't an offense. Like, and let's be honest, Indiana's defense is good. Ohio State's is a little bit better, right? And so if Indiana can turn Illinois into paste, which they did, this Ohio State defense has the possibility of doing the same thing here. Now, maybe if this game was at night, I would say Illinois is going to make this really interesting, but this is a noon kick. I think they handle business on the road, and two scores, that feels about right to me. I think the line on this game is right about where it should be. So yes, Buckeyes win in Chambana. Also at noon. This game's super interesting. Number 8, Alabama on the road at number 14, Mizzou. Alabama favored by 2.5. The AJ Fun Index is okay, 52.5. What do you think about this one?
I think this is going to be an interesting one because Missouri, this has been kind of Missouri's like this is their sneaky year, I
Yeah.
guess we could call it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are quietly destroying teams
Mm-hmm.
and no one's paying attention. The only time we paid attention to Missouri was when they brought back the border war.
Yeah.
Um, but they beat the lights out of ULL. They beat the brakes off of UMass, which, by the way, that was a home and home. Missouri went to UMass last year. That was a real game that happened. Um, they beat South Carolina at home. They get Alabama at home. I think this is the interesting part for Missouri. They have not played a road game yet,
Mm-hmm.
which is an interesting part of their schedule, an interesting quirk. In fact, they only play four total road games for the rest of the season. So they have Alabama this week, then they go to Auburn, then to Vandy, um, and then close the season with Oklahoma, Arkansas, um, away. So I think Missouri needs this win. They need to beat Alabama to kind of put themselves into that like top level of the top level of the conference. Um, Alabama just looks too good. I hate
Yeah.
this. I hate that Alabama just went, fine, I'll do it again. And they've reloaded. They're back up. Uh, I don't hear a ton of people yelling about Kalen DeBoer being or not being the man for the job anymore.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mizzou. I got to take Bama on the road here. I think Bama is a truly better team here, and I think they get the win.
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of glimmer of hope as to why Missouri might be able to steal this game at home. Because I must inform you, friends, this is absolutely a letdown look ahead sandwich for the Crimson Tide. They absolutely had to beat Vanderbilt last week. Now they are on the road at Missouri. What's going on next week? It's the third weekend of October, friends. They've got Tennessee next week in one of I mean, yes, Auburn is their rival, but that Alabama Tennessee rivalry is fierce, y'all. And Mizzou and Bo are having themselves a season, as you mentioned. And if you remember at the beginning of the year when we were trying to figure out our playoff teams, I mentioned Mizzou. I said, I really think Mizzou could be interesting, but I wasn't sold that they had the lines to be able to defend Bo or to be able to, play legit defense against your ground first SEC teams. So far, they're up to the challenge. Those units have really come together and they've got themselves a really good football team. Now, true, their undefeated run comes against teams like Kansas, UMass, and Lafayette. Like, I get it, but they're winning those games handily.
That that sounds to me, Carl, like you're saying that they ain't played nobody. Is
They
that what
haven't
we're
played
going with here?
SEC competition yet. They haven't played an SEC. I mean, they played South Carolina, okay, and that game was close. But those other games where they're racking up the points and they're racking up the yards, they're against Group of Five competition and not P4 competition, right? This is the Tigers' first true test. I do think the pick here is Bama, but I think Mizzou keeps this interesting. I think Mizzou is in this game until the end. Bama pulls a rabbit out of the hat in the fourth quarter of this one, and Bama gets a close one. Then we got a really interesting one next week against Tennessee. That game's gonna be super fascinating to discuss once we get through this weekend. Um, Shifting to the 3:30 window, this might be my game of the week. This one might be my game of the week. We talked about this. We hinted at this last week. Number 7 Indiana goes to number 3 Oregon. That game's at 3:30 on CBS.
Ba, ba,
Ba,
ba,
ba, ba,
ba,
ba, ba, da,
ba,
ba,
ba, ba,
ba.
ba.
Oregon, the Ducks at home are favored by 7.5. The AJ Fun Index is a pretty proper 55.5. That seems about right for this game. AJ, what do you see here?
I have a feeling this game is like 3-3 at halftime.
Yeah,
Right? This
yeah,
has all the makings of like what Oregon Penn State was, where it's like these are two very, very good teams that
and
are
they're
just like
feeling each other out.
stalemating,
Yeah.
and then the second half goes crazy. Um, I, there's obviously there's two outcomes to this game. Indiana wins and solidifies themselves with a very good win, or Oregon wins and like goes back to like just being pretty good under Kurt Signetti. I don't think you're going to see a like exposure of Indiana. I really don't. It's
Mhm.
not like like last year against when Indiana played Ohio State. And it was like, oh right, you're playing the good teams now. And like Ohio State just kind of held them at a distance and it was like closed out the season and it was fine. I think Indiana plays really, really well here. I think that Oregon by 7.5, this is going to be like a field goal game.
Mhm.
That's what it feels like to me. I still think Oregon wins. Oregon is up, like, there's a reason why they're number 3. And Indiana is putting some style points on some good teams like Illinois. They will continue to put style points on everybody else. I don't think they'll be able to put style points, especially in Autzen. Give me the Ducks.
Yeah, I told Jake last week after losing to Oregon that I was rooting real hard for Indiana here. Because at that point I needed an Oregon loss to have a chance at potentially playing for a Big Ten title game. That's all gone now, but I can't change my rooting interest here. I both these teams are putting up big offensive numbers. They're both very stingy in points allowed, which is why I that's a really good assessment. I agree with you. I think this is going to be like a 3-3, 6-3, something like that at the half. That's a great point. Um, they are second and third in the Big Ten and third and sixth nationally in scoring defense between these two teams. So they're in the top 10 in the country on defense, which is not what we think of when we think of these two teams and we see that fun index. We think points, points, points. That's not the whole story. Dante Moore. Suddenly, like he's finding himself sitting at the top of some Heisman polls. And part of that is due to what's happening in Oklahoma with John Mateer, with him being injured, and we'll talk more about him in a minute. Um, but you can make like a fairly convincing argument that if you look at these two teams' schedules so far this year, Indiana's actually played a tougher schedule up to this point because they have wins over Illinois and Iowa. Um, And the Iowa defense is always really, really good. Oregon's only real test was its win over Penn State. They haven't played anybody else yet this year. So this is a real good test for both of these teams. Um, I mentioned I'm rooting for chaos. This is where the chaos begins for me. Jake, I'm hanging with you, friend. I am fully on the Indiana bandwagon for this game. Go Hoosiers. Go get yourself a win. Let's start a Big Ten buffet. Why not?
You know what? We should. We really should. And then, uh, but it's like one of those fancy ones. It's like a fancy buffet,
Yeah, there you go.
like like one with the carving station.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
one of those ones. It's not like the Big 12. All right, if we're talking about like types of buffets, if I might digress here, why wouldn't I? The Big 12 buffet is the old Pizza Hut lunch buffet,
Yes.
right? It's pizza. There's like a weird dessert pizza for some reason.
Or at
The
Cece's.
Cece's pizza,
Because,
sure.
yeah.
The Big Ten is like it's a fancy buffet. Like they have the carving station, they have lobster tail for some reason.
Ooh,
Like it's go ahead.
do you remember Old Country Buffet?
I very much remember Old Country
Old
Buffet. That's
Country
the exact
Buffet
one
is
I
the
was
Big
thinking of.
Ten.
Yes, it is. The exact same audience too.
It is.
So it's the same
100%.
people. Shout out to was it my brother that did it? We stabbed Barney in the tail with a fork. Anyways, uh he was young. We put him up to it and he did it. This is where the show's gone. The show's still on the rails a little bit, but it's time for me to say some words. Carla, what's our next game?
Are you ready since our colleague is not here to do it? Friends, it
Mhm.
is time for the annual Elmer
The
Fudd Memorial.
mhm.
AJ.
It's time for the Wed Wibble Wibble Wee.
Woo! There we go.
Woo!
Speaking of buffets, number six Oklahoma versus Texas at the State Fair. This game's at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Texas is favored by a point and a half. The AJ Fund Index is probably what you would expect, 42 and a half. Can I start with a question for you because I had this in my notes.
Absolutely.
Um, and this is interesting because as I was preparing to do the show today, we started seeing reports, and credit this back to Pete Tamel at ESPN, who wrote the original story, saying that there is a very strong potential that John Mateer is going to come back and try to play this game. He is progressing well after his hand surgery. Now, nothing official yet from Oklahoma on this. My question for you is we've already talked about this, about how absolutely brutal the end of Oklahoma's schedule is. They end their season with five straight ranked opponents.
Yeah, they do.
In your opinion, do you rush Mateer back for Red River for the chance to win the rivalry game? It's a tough question.
It is a tough question. I think a lot of it has to do with where they are. They are currently ranked sixth in the country.
Yeah,
Texas is not, it's not entirely out of the SEC race. They've only lost the one game in the SEC play. So they're not out of the SEC race yet. Let's be clear about that.
right.
It was hilarious that they lost to Florida, but it is not that they're out of the race just yet. And they had a bye week prior to the Kent State game,
Yeah.
which is because he got hurt in the Auburn game.
Yeah, first quarter of the Auburn game.
If he got hurt in the first quarter of the Auburn game, he still threw 271 yards in that game. Um, I think you do. I think you bring him back. You didn't bring him in here to sit on the bench for the Texas game. Um, Michael Hawkins, who is their backup quarterback, was the starter for a long stretch of last year, including Red River.
Yep.
Oklahoma fans did not like to see him come back into the game after watching Mateer go crazy for the first 5 weeks of the season, or the first 4 weeks of the season until he got hurt. They were like, "Oh, this we got our guy now. We got him. Let's go."
Yeah.
And then to see like the guy they didn't like last year come in, not a fun time. Um,
Worth noting that Hawkins was the quarterback for a 34-3 Sooner loss in Red River last
mhm.
year.
Yeah. And they got absolutely demolished last year.
Yeah,
They
they did.
had no offense and Texas could do basically whatever they wanted to. The fact that it was only 34-3 is kind of incredible. But this is also one of those games where it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like it literally there are various rivalry games, like anything can happen to Bedlam. They're all Oklahoma winning. You cannot say the same thing about Red River. This game doesn't make sense.
Yep.
This game is literally they're like Texas by 1.5. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well just call this game a pick 'em and move on with your life. I think I think Texas is still a better team here if Mateer doesn't play.
Right.
If Mateer plays, this is a much more interesting question. I'm taking Texas, even if Mateer plays. I
Okay.
think with the bad hand or with the hand fresh off an injury, they're not going to like make him try to throw 392 yards or whatever. Like they're going to control his ability and they're going to say, you know what, you got to go run this shit with your legs. Like, is it his throwing hand or his non-throwing
It's
hand?
his throwing hand.
Okay, so he can't cast it up because then he could go out there with like the club.
Right.
I'm just now imagining him taking a snap with like the club and just like catching it like this. Watch the video, kids. Um, but this is I'm taking Texas here. I think Texas knows that they need this game to stay in the race for
Yeah.
the SEC. And do I think Brent Venables is going to throw some crazy defensive nonsense at Arch Manning? You bet.
Yes.
You friggin' bet. Um, but yeah, I can't see Texas. I think has the better overall team. I'm going to take Texas here.
And see, for the exact reasons that you said you're taking Texas are the reasons why I'm taking Oklahoma, right? Because, and like you said, this game is unpredictable, right? But Oklahoma doesn't forget 34-3. Right? Like they don't forget what happened last year. Arch is not looking like he's up to what all the preseason hype was around him. Now, will he get to that point? Maybe. This is a chance for him to go out and like erase everything that happened against Florida and set a new page for himself and say, no, I really am the quarterback that you all thought I was heading into the season. But to me, this feels like a redemption story. Like this really feels like a redemption story. Like even if Mateer doesn't play in this game, I think Hawkins comes out if he plays in this game or if he starts this game, he comes out with a chip on his shoulder. Like you mentioned, Venables is going to throw everything in the book that he has at Manning and that defense or that offense, excuse me. I think Oklahoma finds a way to win this game with or without Mateer. And what I think would be really interesting, and I don't know because again, Venables is a defensive guy, right? But it would be really fun to see how some of these teams previously, when you had a court like a star quarterback that was a dual threat, put Mateer out there in like random wildcat situations. You know what I mean? Like use Mateer in that way. Hawkins is your quarterback, but put Mateer out there on certain plays. It just to mix things up a bit. Now, will they go that crazy offensively? Probably not. But I would love to see something like that happen. I think Oklahoma's fired up for this game. They smell playoff, which I'm not sure Texas does anymore. Now they're not out of it, like you mentioned. They're not out of it by any stretch, but it feels like they've got a longer way to go. I think
I
Oklahoma wins this game.
I would like to retract my Texas pick, and I'm going to switch to Oklahoma, not because you directly convinced me, but because I looked at Texas's statistics. Y'all, Arch Manning is Texas's leading rusher
Yeah.
with 160 yards. He is out. He has more rushing yards and touchdowns than their starting running back, Jarrett Gibson, who has 155 carries or 155 yards and one touchdown. Nope, I'm switching. If Arch Manning is your whole offense, y'all, that ain't it. Give me the Sooners. All right,
Yeah.
I'm switching. I'm back. I'm on the Sooners now. Okay.
Okay. Red River, unpredictable. It's one of the great rivalries. Have this on a quad box somewhere to pay attention to this, even if the game ends up not being as exciting, although it always is exciting. Um, you want to watch this one every year because it's just what college football is all about. We will close things out in the primetime slate. Back in the Big Ten, number 15 Michigan at Southern Cal. Crappy, I did that for you. It's USC. 7:30 Eastern on NBC. USC favored at home by 2.5. The AJ Fun Index is quite fun for the Big Ten, 57.5. AJ, what's your take on this one?
You know, we talk a lot about James Franklin not necessarily being able to win the big one, right?
Hmm.
We don't talk about Lincoln Riley's inability to win the big one ever.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't understand why USC is favored here. I think it's like Michigan on the road in the Coliseum, 7:30 p.m. game. Get it, but I just don't see it with you. Like USC is good. Let's not kid ourselves. Like USC is good. But like this feels like one of those like proper Lincoln Riley big game like pants pooping.
Hmm.
Like I don't I don't see it. You know, I feel like this might change though. And I want to say, you know what, we're embracing the chaos of this season. And USC beating Michigan would be high comedy.
Yes.
Just the highest of comedy. I'm gonna go ahead and take USC. Can Lincoln win the big one? Lincoln, don't let me down. You probably will, but I would like you to not do that.
Mhm.
Thank you. I'm taking USC.
This might not come as a surprise that I'm actually with you on this one, but the reason why I'm with you is because the USC offense, statistically, even with Oregon, even with Indiana, USC's offense statistically in the Big Ten has the best scoring total and passing offense in the conference. Michigan's defense is fine. They're really good at stopping the run. Guess who doesn't run the football? That would be USC, right? And they're down at the bottom. This is the same thing that Michigan had last year. Their secondary isn't up to the secondaries that we are used to thinking about with Michigan, right? Defensively, Michigan is not the team that we remember. They're great at stuffing the run, just fine at everything else. USC's playing at home, and you're right. Lincoln Riley has a way of like muffing away these games. I think he gets it done here. I think this game is tight. The USC by 2.5. That's the line on this game. Give me the Trojans at home by that. Trojans win at home by a field goal, heading into the late slate.
And now it's time for Carla to blind figure out what game the advanced stats are previewing. This is a game that I came up with. You should watch the video version of this. We're going to
Yes.
talk this through, but on the screen right now, just for the audio listeners, is an advanced stats preview. Oh no, I broke that one. Carla wasn't looking. She was watching hockey. I got her.
I was, and also, yeah, I was watching hockey, and the Pens closed that one out. Pens win 3-0,
We
1-0
love
on the
that.
season.
That's what we love to see.
Woo!
So what we have here is a on the screen you will see two teams. These are all conference games. There's no team one versus team two out of conference games. So these are all conference games. On the left, we have a team. On the right, we have a team with a number of various advanced stats, but I've blocked out the logos. I've blocked out the team names. And I would like Carla to tell me, what is this game?
Okay.
So we have two CUSA teams here, and both
Yeah.
of them appear to be very bad.
I'm gonna say, knowing the way that your brain works, I'm gonna guess that this is Missouri State at MTSU.
That is correct. This is Missouri State at Middle Tennessee. Uh, the advanced stats preview from cfb-graphs.com. That's Stats of War on Blue Sky. A wonderful person to look at his data. Middle Tennessee has a win probability of 52.1%. Their projected points are 26.63. So Middle favored in the advanced stats against Missouri State. I figured I'd start you off with an easy one. I figured
Okay.
that one would be pretty straightforward. Two not great teams from CUSA, two great tastes that taste great together. So
I was tempted to go Liberty UTEP there because those are also two
fair.
not great teams playing each other this week.
That is fair. But now we get a little harder. We have a Mountain West game, and this is effectively a toss-up. The win probability
Whew.
for one team is 50.1%. By the way, the home teams are all on the right.
Okay.
So a Mountain West team going on the road, 50.1% win probability. This is basically a toss-up game. Who are these teams?
Good grief.
So we have some okay offenses. We have a very good defense based on success rate and a not so good defense based on success rate. Better net points per drive for the away team. Not so great on the net points per drive for the home team. Who are these two Mountain West teams? And Carla, by the way, is looking at the schedule,
I'm
so
looking
she
at the
can see
schedule
who's
so I know
actually
who's
playing. So
playing.
she's like, who are actually playing to
Yeah.
like get this a little bit closer.
Um, I've got it down to two games.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess this is San Jose State, Wyoming.
This is New Mexico,
That was my
Boise.
other one.
New Mexico is slightly has a slightly higher win probability. The
That's
advanced stats
interesting.
have this as a toss up. This is one of those games that made me like turn my head real quick. I was like, wait, hold on, what? New Mexico, Boise is that close? Um, if you guys were, this is why I also like made faces when I saw the advanced stats for Iowa, Wisconsin, and I was like, oh wait, did I add this to the game? And I didn't. Um, that one is a toss up about the same level too. So
Mm,
advanced stats is an interesting place to be, but this was New Mexico, Boise State. New Mexico would be slightly favored by advanced stats.
interesting.
We now go to our next game. The buffet is back.
Oh, this is gonna be impossible.
Again, this is a full blown, toss up. These are separated by zero point zero 0.06 projected points. About as close as you're going to get. EPA margin much higher for the away team. Offensive success rate is higher. Defensive success rate is higher. Net points per drive is higher. Like the away team is a very, very good team.
But um
But The defensive success rate of the home team is what is tipping this a bit in their favor. They are very, very good at getting stops on defense, and they are very, very good at scoring points by passing.
I'm gonna guess this is UCF Cincinnati.
This is BYU Arizona.
Ooh,
BYU is very, very good across the board, but where are they going, Carla?
they're going to Arizona.
And the advanced stats recognize
Yeah.
the power of Arizona. Again, this is basically a toss up. I find these fascinating. Um,
I mean, that literally could
and
have been almost every game in the Big 12 this week, with the exception of Houston, Oklahoma State.
honestly, the advanced stats say otherwise. The advanced stats have some pretty decent spreads in the Big 12 games. This one was a toss up.
Interesting.
We now go to the Big Ten. I have a pretty good feeling you know who these two teams are. They are both very, very good at pretty much everything. Who do who do we think these teams are?
Uh, See, there's two games. I'm going to say that's Indiana, Oregon, but the
That
points
is
are
correct.
low. Okay.
That is Indiana, Oregon. In Oregon favored by a few more percentage points than the others. They're also favored by about a point and a half. So that Oregon by a point and a half spread by Vegas is backed up by advanced stats.
Yep.
It was just very interesting to see Indiana having the deep success across every single statistical
Yeah.
category. Um, like Indiana is properly good. This isn't even like a transfer story situation now. Like they still have Elijah Surratt, but that is not the whole story anymore. And finally, this is the game that damn near broke my neck. SEC versus SEC with a significant home win probability. I I truly turned my head 90 degrees when I saw this one because it didn't make sense to me, and it still doesn't. But you have a team on the away team is pretty good offensively, pretty good defensively. Their net points per drive on passing is not great, um, but their net points per drive rushing is very good. Their quality drive ratio is very good. So you have a good team that is capable of putting points on the board, making sure that they are finishing drives strong. And on the other side, you have some not so quality drives, and their dropbacks are not very good either. So these are both heavy running teams, decent offensive success rates, very good defensive success rate on the other team, which I find fascinating.
I think
Carla,
this
who
would
we
be
got?
hilarious if it's Georgia Auburn.
You're actually correct. It
Yep.
is Georgia Auburn. The advanced stats have Georgia Auburn with Auburn having a 53% win probability and would be favored by like 1 to 2 points,
Mm-hmm.
which I find fascinating
Yeah.
because it's almost like the advanced stats know this isn't Jordan Hare.
Mm-hmm.
It just knows, and it's like, oh, I have to give like an extra 3 points for that.
Yep. It's a night game at
Um,
Jordan Hare too.
it's a night game at Jordan Hare against Georgia,
Yep.
and it was interesting to me to see the defensive success rate overall for Auburn being higher than
Yeah.
Georgia's. Georgia is a real mortal team this year.
They are. Portable.
Bama did they're very mortal this year. Um, so I thought it was just interesting. I wanted to just do some blind advanced stats things because it was funny. And you should go check out CFB Graphs, cfb-graphs.com, and you can pick teams. You can put he puts up the graphs by week, so you can see put your teams together. You can also pick your own teams. So if you're like, hey, if these two teams were to play a hypothetical game this year, what would that look like? You can also make it a neutral site game to like take some of that into consideration because home stadiums are considered here. So go play around with those. Super interesting times.
Nice. We'll
Carla,
we'll include some of those. We'll include at least a couple of those images in the show notes as well. So make sure you're subscribed to our Substack, which gives me a great
yes.
opportunity to say Boys and girls, you can hear the Carla and Crappy Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and a variety of other podcasting hosts. You can watch us on YouTube and or on the show's Facebook page. You can also read us, as I just mentioned, on our Substack. If you like us, please subscribe, rate, and review. If you don't, mind your own damn business and be sure to come back next week to see just how wrong we were because we're calling for buffets, friends. So we're gonna guaranteed to be wrong about something. And as I mentioned top of show, come back next week to see who is sitting in the guest host chairs next week as I run this ship solo while both AJ and Crappy are off. Um it's gonna be a lot of fun. AJ, what final thoughts from you?
Um, this feels like one of those weeks where last week starts the like rest of the season
Yeah.
story of, hey, this is where things went wrong. This is where things went right. Um, we're starting to hit the point of schedules where like, okay, we know we have like we have half a season worth of data points here that we can actually like look at and start to make projections based on those things. But playoff race and conference championship races start to come into play. So you're going to start to see things come together. There's a reason why the SEC is getting gigantic TV contracts because all of their teams are ranked and playing each other. So you have a lot of helmet games
Yep.
to put together. Um, the Big Ten would like to do this, and they're not. And the problem they're running into now is that they have some very, very, very good teams, and they have a whole lot of okay in the middle, and then they have some real dregs at the bottom. And the SEC has a lot more, their mid tier is actually much better.
Yeah.
And so you're starting to see some of that separation. But this is my favorite part of this year so far. It feels really open.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like, oh, these two teams are clearly going to be playing. We can sim the rest of the season. We don't need to actually play the rest of the season. Just let's just go ahead and get to January so we can play a national championship. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. This still feels really weird and really open. Like I don't know who's going to win the ACC.
Yeah.
It's probably Miami, but like I don't know that. There's so many opportunities for Miami to shoot themselves in the foot.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. The SEC has the potential to have multiple teams go undefeated in conference play, like three of them, and have to get into some real weird tiebreakers.
Yep.
Um,
And the Big 12 is just Big 12ing itself already.
and we love to see it.
Yes,
That's
we
why
do.
we watch the Big 12 kids. The buffet stays open. It's 24 hours. That's why they have their media days in Vegas. Carla, what are you looking for here?
I need to run the usual slate again with Crappy not here this week. So here are our combined mutual interests. Ohio, the playoff bound Ohio Bobcats. I will continue to try to speak that into existence. They are off this week, so we don't have a game to worry about for them. As I mentioned, Missouri State, and as you mentioned, Missouri State is at MTSU. Sorry, friends, you missed that game. That was Wednesday night. But by the time you listen to this game, you can go look up the score, or listen to this show. You can look up the score. But there's more Cuse action coming next week. Okay, so the entire Cuse schedule is being played on Wednesday and Thursday nights throughout the month of October. So if you're looking for football on a Wednesday or Thursday night, check for a Cuse game. Okay. Let's go with D3 for a minute. This is interesting. After destroying the Green Terror of McDaniel last Saturday, 56-7, the number 17 Carnegie Mellon Tartans, they got a tough one this week. They are on the road at number 3 Johns Hopkins. That game is at noon. You can catch a live stream. On the Carnegie Mellon Athletics website. It's athletics.cmu.edu. They offer a live stream of that game, but that's a tough test for them on the road playing the number 3 team in Division 3. Back to my fandom at 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Our alma mater, Robert Morris, plays host to Dallas Jackson. I hope you're listening because I'm pulling this out of like 20 years of history. They are playing Central Connecticut State that we refer to as CCon. CCon Sta. Sta. Con. It's a long story. It has to do with some like old school Sharpie markers in the NCAA tournament and making a giant bracket, whatever. You can kind of figure out what happened from there. Um, but yeah, Central Connecticut State, the Blue Devils will be traveling to Jowa to take on the Colonials. First game in NEC play for the Colonials this year. They lost to Merrimack last week, so they need to turn this around and get a win. And then finally, I guess I'll mention this. Northwestern travels to Beaver Stadium, 3:30 Eastern on FS1. Penn State's favored big. They're favored by 3 touchdowns in this game. We'll see how they respond. We'll see whether or not we'll see how the fans respond. We'll see how the players respond. We'll see how we're going to get a real gut check this week to see whether or not these Nittany Lions can turn the season around or whether we're really done. So yeah, hate to end on the note, but AJ, thank you for helping me to come back around to remember how much fun college football is, and for putting me through the paces on that blind test. That was some interesting stuff.
The one thing I do want to note, just taking a quick spin of FCS, we have number 1 North Dakota State hosting number 9 Southern Illinois.
Ooh, that's good.
That is a very, very interesting game. We also have UC Davis hosting number 16 Northern Arizona. Swing your axe. And number 12 North Dakota hosts number 20 Youngstown State.
Ooh.
And finally, it took me a while to figure out what happened here, and now I realize that the way that the FCS rankings are done, it's a coaches poll, and they are scored by points, which means that this week we have number 21 West Georgia hosting number 21 Abilene Christian. They are literally tied in the poll, so it's number 21 versus number 21. I'm sure that game will be on ESPN Plus or something somewhere.
Settle it on the field.
Yes, you have to settle it on the field, but this is at 2 p.m. in Carrollton, Georgia. So ESPN Plus, 2 p.m., the West Georgia Wolves, the Abilene Christian Wildcats in UAC action.
Nice.
So listen, sometimes just take a little cruise through ESPN Plus. Just look for something silly. Just every now and then I'll just find I'm like, ooh, that game is a very close game. I should turn that game on. That's what I do. Like sometimes it's like, oh, hey, these games are kind of boring. Carla mentioned the noon slate, late slate or the 7 p.m. slate. It's like these games are kind of decided. Okay, cool. Here's South Alabama, Troy.
Yeah.
Which came down to overtime, and South Alabama or Troy won and left with a championship belt because they play for a championship belt. Again, we can do cool things in this sport. You just have to go look for it. Yeah. This has been the Carla and Crappy Show.
Yeah. AJ, thank you so much for jumping in this week and helping me come out of my doldrums a little bit. We appreciate you. Enjoy your week off next week, although I know we'll be hearing from you.
Yeah, I'm going to try and record that one from the top of a small mountain. So
I love it. So hopefully we'll hear AJ's Group of 5 After Dark report as per usual. Thank you, friends, for listening, for hanging with us, for watching. Please go watch this one because there's a lot of visual cues that you're going to want. Come back here next week. Enjoy the college football this weekend. Enjoy the hockey this weekend. Sure, whatever. Enjoy both sports. There's so much to watch. Come back here next week for a fun show next week, and we will see you again real soon. Cheers, friends.